All right, so you just saw a video about how traits can be inherited and how you can have traits are the result of alleles, and that you can have dominant alleles and recessive alleles. So what I'm going to talk about now is a little review of genotype versus phenotype. Remember, the genotype are the genetic combination of alleles on homologous chromosomes that a person can inherit from their parents. And the genotype can vary, but there's usually just two phenotypes, a dominant phenotype and a recessive phenotype. There can be more, but for right now, let's just think about them as pairs. So what this is a punnett square, and a punnett square is used to look at all the genetic possibilities in a cross between individuals. Okay, so let's take our first example, and that example was for the alleles that govern freckles in an individual. So say we have a cross between two individuals that result in an offspring. One individual was homozygous dominant, crossed with an individual that was heterozygous. And we use a Punnett square to see what could be the genetic possibilities for how those alleles segregate themselves in the new individual. So we take the top will be the female, and say the female is heterozygous. And then we put the male on the side, and the male was homozygous dominant. And we see, this is how we see how these alleles can separate out and what the genetic ratios could be, okay? So right here, this is one possibility. The offspring could be homozygous dominant. Another possibility is that they could be heterozygous. The third possibility is that they could be homozygous dominant. And then lastly, there's a small chance that they could be recessive or homozygous recessive. Okay? And so you got you've got three different possibilities for the genotype of the new individual, but you basically have just two phenotypes. They either are going to have freckles, so they have a 3-in-1 chance of having freckles, and a small chance of not having freckles. Okay? So the ratio is 3-to-1 that this individual would have, 3-to-1 ratio that the individual would have freckles. And that's how we do a Punnett square.